Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks are coming off their bye week with a tough matchup against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Ryan, I hope they got their rest because on paper this should be a phenomenal game. Both of these teams, I would say, are Super Bowl contenders, and it's going to be interesting too to see if the Seahawks were able to take that rest and watch the Bengals game this week, where they won against the Arizona Cardinals and found some potential weaknesses, but also to hope that the Bengals didn't find a rhythm here because Joe Burrow and JaMarr Chase relived their glory days from LSU and just absolutely connected. Joe Burrow had 317 yards. 192 of those went to JaMarr Chase. Joe Burrow also had 3 touchdown passes. If I'm not mistaken, all three of those went to JaMarr Chase. So 15 catches as well. I mean, it's just a phenomenal day. It is all against the Arizona Cardinals, who I think is kind of a personal fan. I'm a personal fan favorite now, just how hard they play. It was a good game going back and forth. But, I mean, the Bengals won that game. I wonder if they're starting to maybe find a rhythm here. What do the Seahawks have to do coming off their bye going into Cincinnati to maybe stop this Bengals run?
So the biggest thing for me is right now the Seahawks are one of the worst teams in the league against the pass. They're giving up about 305 yards a game. And you cannot do that against the Cincinnati Bengals. They will take advantage of that and more with the weapons that they have. Even though T. Higgins is inactive with broken ribs, they still have probably easily a top 5 wide receiver in the league in JaMarr Chase. Tyler Boyd is a fantastic number 2 wide receiver. And then Charlie Jones, Andre Yoshivas, and Cast, they get those guys involved. Then they have Irv Smith at tight end. So, they have a really elite group of pass catchers there. Joe Mixon, they get involved in the passing game as well. So, that to me, priority number 1 is you just cannot let them get in a rhythm early in the passing game, or else this becomes a old-fashioned shootout. And that's just not gonna be a winning strategy, I think, for the Seattle Seahawks. On the offensive side of the ball, Seahawks, they're averaging about 108 rushing yards a game. This rushing defense for the Bengals has been surprisingly not good. They're giving up about 154 yards a game. And that has been one of the strengths of this defense for a little while. But seeing some chinks in the armor there, I think that's something that Seattle would want to take advantage of. Maybe keep this game a little lower scoring, run the football, try to have some 6, 7, 8 minute drives. And go from there. Keep this offense on the sideline, out of rhythm, and hope that you can maintain those drives.
Well, that's one of the things too. Even just in this game alone, the Cardinals had 142 rushing yards on 22 carries, so it's 6.5 rushing yards.
To be fair, they had one play that was about like a 70-yard, or not 70, like maybe a 50-yard fake reverse.
The 41-yard, I'm guessing, to Rondale Moore.
They ran it looked like a pitch to Rondale Moore on a jet sweep, and then he faked the reverse, and the whole defense bit really hard.
So, even then, though, so let's say you take that out. So then on 21 of those carries, it's still just over 100 rushing yards. It's still 5 yards, or just shy of 5 yards a carry. And that, to me, I think Kenneth Walker has been absolutely amazing for Seattle Seahawks. The offense as a whole has really picked up after that week 1, second half. The second half of week 1 game against the Rams, where they forgot how to play football, but they picked it up a lot since then. And another thing as well, too, last time we saw the Seahawks, they just absolutely dominated Daniel Jones and the New York Giants offensive line. It isn't saying much. That Giants offensive line is not good.
They're also playing without Andrew Thomas, their best offensive lineman.
They made Evan Neal get absolutely embarrassed by New York radio media. So it's just they are able to get after the quarterback, and if there is some weaknesses still from this Bengals offensive line, and that's been their bugaboo, has been their offensive line, for as long as Joe Burrow's been there, really. Just finding that cohesion and understanding, how to play with each other and getting everybody's assignments. If they're able to exploit that still, I think Draymond Jones can cause some havoc for Joe Burrow in this offense. But it's going to be interesting to see here, too, just because if it does turn into a shootout, the Seahawks can win in a shootout. We saw them do that against the Lions. But then if it turns into a defensive juggernaut game, I think that they're able to do that as well. One of the guys that we'll say to watch, too, Jamal Adams, when we saw him, he did have a concussion. I think as we all saw as well. Jerron Reed also, too, seems to be injured. So his status overall just for the game. Those two, I think, are key guys to be playing to watch as well. Similar as well with Kobe Bryant, who just watching his status, just to have that depth as well. But Devin Witherspoon's been playing great. Then you pair him up with Reek Woolen on the opposite side, and that's just been a fun duo to watch. Also, this is just going to be a tight game. I could see both of these teams maybe even playing in February. I think that each team, Bengals obviously have that potential. I think the Seahawks, we've been saying for a long time, have that potential here. Coming into this game here, what's your overall prediction in the winner of this game?
For me, the Bengals did this last year. They came out, they started 1-3, and then they went on this 12-1 streak. And I picked against the Bengals against the Cardinals, and I kind of bit the dust on that, obviously. And so I'm gonna go with the Bengals this week. I think they found something. When your quarterback connects with your number one wide receiver 15 times for almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, you found a groove on offense.
Yeah.
Like that's not they had a good day type of thing. And so that to me, I think that might just be a little too much for this Seahawks offense to truly keep up with, especially when the Seahawks offense is, while balanced, they're actually primarily throwing the ball just because they have those receiver weapons. And that's been the strength of this Bengals defense so far, DJ Turner and Cast. So I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think they pulled this one out at home.
Okay. So I'll go with the away team. I'll go with the team coming off a bye. I think Seattle, I think one of their strengths is I think Devin Witherspoon's been an amazing pick. I think you pair him up with Rick Woolen, and also you still have Quandre Diggs out there in free safety. Also, I think that they're going to be able to shut down JaMarr Chase. We're going to have to watch T. Higgins' status overall. I would be surprised if he played. I mean, it's with broken ribs, and it's still very early on in the season. They're going to want him to get as healthy as possible, so that stuff doesn't happen again. I wonder if they're going to be able to shut down that connection, and I feel like Draymond Jones and company are going to build off the confidence from their Monday night dominance from Week 4. I think it's still going to be a tough time for Joe Burrow to, I would just say, like just have a dominant performance like how we saw him against the Cardinals. I think it's going to be a great game. I do think it's going to be that shootout, but I have a feeling DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and then also JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to – I think they're all going to have just good days.
Yeah.
They're going to have good days. So I'm actually going to go with the Seahawks here. I'll go with the 34-28 Seahawks victory.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Both of these teams like to try to put up points. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is probably my favorite matchup so far in Week 6. So it's hard to believe we're a third of the way through the season already. But
I know.
Let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Is it going to be the Seattle Seahawks or the Cincinnati Bengals? Let us know down below. That was you guys.